The film opens with a dark fairy tale about the enchanted land of Knitland, a place where children play for eternity, without adult supervision and never grow old. Only Peter Pan can lead them there, and he selects only the most special boys to follow him. This tale is being read aloud by an adult man seated in a chair beside a frightened boy. A photograph of the child rests on a nearby table, while a police bulletin lists them both as wanted in connection with a missing persons case. The scene then shifts to a lively circus, where costumed acrobats and performers captivate an audience of thrilled children. Among them is a peculiar mime, the story's eerie narrator, who silently watches the crowd before choosing his next target. His attention falls on a young boy named James, to whom he offers a balloon animal. That night, after James is tucked into bed, a hidden hatch in the floor suddenly creaks open. Emerging from the shadows is the same mime, now fully made up. He introduces himself as Peter and tells James that he's lost. After lying a bit, he convinces the gullible boy to shake his hand. Peter invites James to go with him to Fairyland Knitland. The idyll of the kidnapping is interrupted by the appearance of an agitated mother. She takes her son away from the intruder, then kicks the mime and tells him to run away. Grabbing the phone and dialing the police, the woman hands the phone to the boy and returns to the house with a knife. In the kitchen, the insidious Peter strikes from under the table. The mother stabs the maniac in the back with a knife, and in response, he smashes a flower pot over her head. As a result, Peter neutralizes the woman. Then he approaches the frightened boy, who is frozen at the closed door. The story moves forward 15 years. At breakfast, the mother asks Wendy Darling to take her younger brother Michael to school. She also discusses with her mother her move to the capital with her boyfriend. The girl remembers that it is Michael's birthday and congratulates him before he leaves on his new bike. Wendy gives her brother a ride to school, promising to pick him up after school and celebrate with ice cream at a cafe. At school, Michael is greeted by his friend and classmate Joey, who presents him with a photo of them together with the words, "Friends." Meanwhile, an aged Peter puts on makeup in preparation for another crime, while his accomplice Tinkerbell heats up some substance in a spoon to use. They then get into a van and drive to a toy store, where the scarred Peter finds a suitable mask. When the seller asks him to pay for the purchase, the visitor stabs him instead of money. After school, Wendy waits for her brother in the parking lot of the school. She is distracted by a conversation with her boyfriend, who has changed his mind about moving to the big city with her. Busy with the conversation, she doesn't notice her brother leaving the school and riding off on a new bike parked next to a suspicious van. The ride along the country road is interrupted by a taut wire. When he gets up, he sees that the obstacle starts near the van. The rainbow on its side hints that these are no ordinary tourists. Not wanting to get involved with them, Michael starts to back away, but Peter, wearing a mask, grabs the boy and drags him into the van, ignoring his cries for help. Before she can find her brother, Wendy asks the teacher if he was left behind after school. After making sure that he is not at school, the girl heads home. At home, she and her mother call the police to report him missing. At that moment, the phone rings. Picking up the phone, the girl hears music. The mother picks up the phone and hears the kidnapper say that there is no need to look for her son. He is taking him to the Netherlands. In his hiding place, Peter brings Michael food. He takes off his mask and reveals his horribly disfigured face. The maniac says that he will soon send Michael to a magical place for special boys. Peter leaves, leaving Michael alone with the TV, which is showing a program about a crocodile hunting. Later, he returns to offer to play a game. When Peter hides, leaving the door open, Michael goes out into the hallway. He has a rough idea of where the kidnapper is. The boy quietly makes his way in the opposite direction to escape. In the room with the plastic-covered mannequins, he tries to open a window, but accidentally breaks a glass jar. Peter does not answer the code word, so as not to spoil his spectacular appearance among the mannequins. After grabbing the prisoner, the man returns him to the room, where he finds a gift from Joey among the boy's belongings. Peter tells Michael that he will bring his friend so that he won't be bored, even if the boy asks him not to. The next day, Wendy goes to see Stephen, an elderly man whose son Timmy was abducted 15 years ago on his way to visit, presumably by the same maniac. Stephen also admits that Timmy was an unusual boy and thought he was a girl. He has dresses and fairy costumes hanging in his childhood room. When school is over, students get on the school bus and go home. On the way, the bus stops because Peter, wearing a mask, has blocked the road with a broken-down car to find Joey. When the driver approaches to help, Peter eliminates him with a knife, then goes into the cabin full of children. Taking off his mask, the maniac offers the children a ride to Netland, which naturally causes panic. Meanwhile, Tinkerbell comes to the captive Michael. She believes that Peter is sending the children to a magical netland where she cannot go. Only special boys are allowed there, and he is too special even among the special ones. The prisoner does not realize that he is Timmy, kidnapped 15 years ago, who identifies himself as a real fairy. Michael asks to let him go because he doesn't believe in traveling to a magical land, but Tinkerbell just walks away. When Wendy returns home, she learns terrible news. A mysterious maniac has stopped a school bus full of children and killed all the passengers. If she hadn't taken Joey with them, he would have died too. The killer himself sees Peter Pan dancing on the wall and promises to bring him a new boy. The maniac imagines himself flying off the floor. This is interrupted by the appearance of Tinkerbell, who doubts that the children are going to get to the magical land. Furious, Peter almost strangles her, and then, taking a belt, goes down to the basement, where another prisoner is chained, whom he beats to keep him quiet. Feeling guilty and confused, Wendy goes to visit Friend, where she spends the night. Her friend gives her room, and she settles down on the couch in the living room. Even when the whole family, including her parents, falls asleep, the girl can't sleep. She watches news reports about the bloody crime on her smartphone until the battery runs out. Wendy searches for an outlet, not realizing that a maniac is already on the ground floor, coming for Michael's friend. Entering the living room, Peter raises a knife over the awakened girl and eliminates her. Wendy then hears the sounds of a struggle in the hallway and screams of pain. The maniac eliminates her parents and girlfriend so that no one can stop him from kidnapping the boy. Suspecting something is wrong, the girl makes the bed and gathers her things to create the illusion that no one is in the room. The knife-wielding killer enters the bedroom and looks around suspiciously, including under the bed, where someone could be hiding. But the clever Wendy hides on the ledge outside the window. Wendy hears Peter start the van under the windows, and then, grabbing the charger, runs to the first floor. Downstairs, slipping on a pool of blood, she grabs the car keys. The girl bravely gives chase at night to the criminal who is driving Joey until she reaches his lair, an old mansion. After getting inside, Wendy hides in the closet while the owner changes from bloody clothes to more or less clean ones. Peter then brings Joey to Michael, after which he warns that one of them must be sent to Netland, but they need to decide which one using a counting game. The choice falls on Joey, who is immediately taken away by the maniac. Meanwhile, Wendy heads to the kitchen, where she puts her phone on charge to call the police. While the phone is charging, she arms herself with a knife and wanders the corridors in search of adventure and her brother. Wendy finds a door locked with a padlock and picks the code. At this moment, Tinkerbell appears behind her. The girl asks not to interfere with the rescue, to which the strange fairy agrees, covering the door from a passing maniac. Tinkerbell asks what awaits the children in Netland, but the killer does not answer. The conversation is interrupted by the sound of a charging phone. Peter realizes that someone is in the house. Entering Michael's room, the man asks where the stranger is, threatening not to take the boy to Netland if he lies. When the maniac tells him how he is sending the children to a magical land, Wendy, hiding behind a giant toy, throws it at Peter, after which she and her brother run away, locking the door along the way. In the hallway, Tinkerbell catches them with a knife. However, Wendy realizes that she is looking at the missing Timmy and tells the fairy that his father misses him. This information shocks the fairy creature. From an excess of feelings, the fairy lets the fugitives go, who are separated in the process of escaping. Wendy finds the stairs to the basement. Following the bloody footsteps, she comes across a closed coffin. The girl wants to know what is in the black box and opens it. Inside is Joey, alive and well, except for his irreversibly shaken psyche. Wendy orders him to run as far as he can to get help. She goes back for her brother. Wandering through the underground corridors, she finds an old photo of James, and then sees him chained in the dark. Michael is hiding in the kitchen under the table. Noticing his sister's phone on the charger, he picks it up and calls the police. When Peter enters the room, the boy can't speak to avoid giving himself away, but the operator warns him that he can locate the signal. When Tinkerbell again expresses doubts about the killer's methods and goals, Peter throws him on the table and breaks his arms. In the basement, Wendy realizes that the frightened creature on the chain is not an accomplice of the criminal, but a victim like her brother. As soon as she gets out of the basement, she is attacked by Peter, who has been waiting for an opportunity. A fight ensues, during which the maniac bites off 2 of Wendy's fingers. Pushing him off, she throws kitchen utensils at him. After another blow, she falls down and sees a bloody and armless Tinkerbell. Faye advises him not to give up until his former accomplice kicks him. Grabbing a syringe from the floor, Wendy stabs the killer in the neck, causing him to experience hallucinations and lose touch with reality. Bandaging her arm with duct tape, Wendy hides in the interior. After breaking through the barrier, Peter notices bloody footprints leading to a hole, an even more secretive lair. She strangles the killer from behind. With the maniac pinned down by a wardrobe, she escapes and pulls out a splinter, still bleeding. The maniac puts on a mask and addresses her on behalf of his inner child, who asks her not to hurt him. At this point, however, Wendy begins to beat her opponent. He does not have time to recover and continue his festival. A hook appears in the doorway, pulling Peter into the darkness of the corridor. The story moves forward a year. The Darling family is celebrating Michael's birthday. While the boys are unpacking their presents, Wendy, who has a scar on her neck, answers the phone. In the receiver, she hears the same music that was playing when Peter called to tell them that he was taking Michael to Netland. This means that the maniac is still alive.